mRNA vaccines are built on a foundation of decades of research by countless scientists. This meant that when the pandemic happened, scientists were able to use that knowledge to make the COVID vaccine so quickly, a vaccine that is safe and effective. All that past research helped overcome many challenges. A big one had to do with a pesky problem. mRNA happens to be super fragile. Some scientists joke that it'll fall apart if you look at it wrong. So, they had to figure out how to get this delicate molecule into cells and keep it intact long enough for cells to read its code. The mRNA needed to be safely tucked inside a protective case of some kind. For years, scientists have been tinkering with making these cases out of little balls of fat. They called these balls lipid nanoparticles, or LNPs, because fat is a kind of lipid and nano basically means extremely small. In your body, lipids are what make up cell membranes. They tend to form into a ball shape on their own, so are good at holding stuff inside. This inspired scientists to think about using them to carry and transport things, like mRNA. Back in the early 2000s, scientists started making lots of different kinds of lipids to make LNPs. They figured out how to make them safe and effective. So, we now have these big libraries of different engineered lipids for making LNPs. When the COVID pandemic hit, scientists went hunting in those lipid libraries. They wanted to build a new LNP, this time to make an mRNA vaccine for COVID. All over the world, scientists tried out many different recipes for LNPs. The LNP needed to be a protective case for mRNA. The LNPs also had to get inside cells, dump their contents, and degrade once they've done their job. They figured out that combining these 4 different lipids made an LNP for the COVID mRNA vaccine that worked. They relied on the solid groundwork scientists had already laid for them to succeed. The lipid nanoparticle container is one part of how the mRNA vaccine works so well. But the mRNA itself comes preloaded with some bonus content of its own. Content that helps make the vaccine work safely. Let's take a closer look. Bioengineers gave the vaccine mRNA a cap and a tail. These regions don't code for anything. They help the mRNA last longer and boost protein production. They also added these parts to help cell machinery latch onto the mRNA in the best spot. And here is the part of the mRNA that actually codes for spike. The spike protein has 2 shapes. It transforms. That's how it works, actually. It forces the virus and cell to fuse by changing its shape. Before that happens, it's a totally different shape. And this is the shape it would be when the immune system first sees spike if you get COVID. So, the memory the immune system forms of the spike needs to be of its shape before it transforms. That way, the immune system can mount a targeted attack before the spike lets viruses inside cells. So, scientists changed this part of the mRNA. It codes for a spike locked in the prefusion shape. Scientists had figured out how to do that while working on a vaccine for a different coronavirus outbreak, all the way back in 2017. Another challenge is that the vaccine mRNA itself is foreign. Foreign stuff, like the RNA from viruses, triggers an immune response, which is mostly a good thing. The problem is the body's defense system sometimes ends up taking things too far and starts hurting itself. But even though it's foreign, the mRNA in the vaccine avoids those side effects. That's because scientists figured out a cool way to make the vaccine mRNA safer. Okay, so mRNA is made up of 4 building blocks, just like DNA. It turns out that one of those building blocks plays a big role in triggering the immune system. So, scientists swapped out that one building block with a synthetic look-alike. The code is read the exact same way. The cell builds the spike protein from the mRNA minus the immune response. This molecular swapping technology was actually in development over 50 years ago. In fact, all the cool features woven into the mRNA vaccine have their root in decades of research. When the pandemic hit, the vaccines came out fast, and they work, thanks to some cutting-edge stuff. But mRNA vaccines wouldn't have happened without the legacy of research backing them up.